What are you saying, ladies and gents? It is your boy, Wicket Sam, and we are back again today for another video. Today, we are going through every single Premier League side and going through a player that they need to sell this January. And as you can see, it's not just me sat on the sofa. Today, we have got Sai. Sai, how you doing?
Special guest appearance.
I know, yeah. We don't often get guests on the YouTube channel.
It's an honour.
And he's from
Excited for
the
this.
Bucket Hat Sam Talksport podcast, link down below. It is a great podcast, I may say. Right, we're going to go straight in. I'm going to start off with the lower teams down at the bottom. And we're kind of going to fly through some of the teams, I think, at the bottom. And we'll get it a little bit more tasty as we go on. So we'll start off at 20th in the league. Who have you got for Sheffield United?
So Sheffield United, I've been a bit silly.
I don't mind it.
Start early. So nice to player they need to sell, a player that needs to go elsewhere.
I know exactly who you're going to say.
So McAtee, I need Man City to recall him and send him elsewhere to a better team. Because Sheffield is a team that there's no one I can sell because they're all cack. Like, what's going to happen? There's no point, is there? So I'd say the only player to leave Sheffield should be Man City recalling McAtee.
Do you know what? I thought about kind of just somehow fudging it and thought, you know what, I know you'd do that for me. So I haven't said anyone for Sheffield United because I've said there's not really anyone good enough in the squad. And they're not in a position to sell. They need all these players for the Championship for next season.
They're prepared for Championship already, aren't they?
Exactly.
That's the thing.
Sorry, God, if there's any Sheffield United fans, you've already switched off it. You hate my channel anyway, so we'll move on. Next to Burnley. Who have you got for Burnley?
I went for the second choice keeper, Muric.
Oh, okay.
Reason being, last year, Championship, second most clean sheets, 19 clean sheets in the season. He's then been ousted by a League One goalkeeper who's been signed, obviously Trafford, and he's obviously they're going to be there for years, isn't he? In fact, once they get relegated, he's still going to be the number one. Muric's still got some credit at the bank, therefore, and I think his market value is about 7 or 8 million currently still. He's used to be Man City's number 2 keeper as well. He's got a good reputation behind him, so I said Muric.
Okay, so at least you've got somebody. I have also put, have a guess,
No
one, because they're not in a position to sell. There's a little bit of a theme here, as you can see. So we'll move on now to Luton, and I'll go first with Luton because I actually have a player now.
I'm glad to hear you finally got a player.
That's the only
I'm glad
two
you contributed
clubs.
to your own channel.
Yeah, I know, exactly. If people say this is a lazy video, I have done some research, I promise. So I've gone for the player that Luton Town need to sell is Ross Barkley. So hear me out on this. Even though he's probably the most important player in that squad right now,
The best player that squad
and
by a
the
mile.
best player by far, his contract's running out. This is a time where, let's be honest, they can actually get a fee for him. Because to be honest, he's too good for that. His stocks are high.
Yeah.
Cash in, help the side, and then invest in more players. Maybe that could help them, or maybe that they could build for the future like they have done with other sales. So that was kind of my logic with that.
I hear you, but then they need him to stay up. If Luton have the best chance for top 3 of 3 teams who've been promoted, best chance to stay up, they need Barkley.
No, I know. It depends kind of the way they look at it. Do they look at it as, do they risk it and lose him on a free?
But they got him on a free.
Exactly. Or do they cash in, make a profit, and invest in some more youngsters for the Championship? That's my kind of logic. And I know it's a little bit of an iffy one, but I think that's probably the only player. Because bar that, I don't see anyone coming in for any of the players at all, really. You may disagree.
I had Ryan Giles, the left wing back. Had a great season last season of Championship. Got plenty of assists. I think it was at Borough, wasn't he? Did really well at Borough. Luton signed for 5 mil from Wolves. That's why I sort of know that's about it. I thought he might come back to Wolves and do well. Obviously with someone Luton, and it's not hit. He's hardly playing. He's hardly playing at all. I know he's been linked to Hull City recently.
Gone.
Has he already gone?
Gone.
Oh well, there you go. So Luton listened to me without me saying it, so it makes sense.
Option to buy for 4.5 million.
So really,
Perfect.
yeah. There you go. Whatever.
There we go. Next one then. Everton. Who have you got for Everton?
Ben Godfrey.
Oh, okay. I like this. Talk to me.
I rate Ben Godfrey. I think he's quick, he's strong. Just needs a bit of leadership next to him to help him coach for the game, like a Tarkowski. But Dyche don't play him at all, and he can play anywhere across the back 4. I think he needs just to go to another team and just start again somewhere else. I think he's got a bit stale at Everton. He's still young. He still progress, still get better. So I think he'd get a good fee in as well for Everton. He cost 20 million. Probably get that back as well, I reckon. I think he's a good player, I really do.
It's a really weird one, isn't it? Because he's a player that you can tell he's not positionally perfect for Everton. Like he has got a mistake in him, and I don't think you can have a mistake in you in a Dyche defence. I think that's the only thing.
I can understand that. Which is why I think you need the leadership next to him. If you let Godfrey be the ball to attack every ball that comes over, and you got this experienced player next to him to sweep everything up, that works. And
yeah, I agree with that. That's a really good shot, actually. I've gone for Onana.
Okay.
Now he's linked with absolutely everyone. And as I said, there's a little bit of a theme with some of these.
Yeah.
The stocks are high for this man right now. He's a man in demand. He's the man that's been linked with Arsenal. He's been linked with Tottenham, with West Ham. Absolutely everyone in the top half of the table.
Top teams in Europe as well.
Top
wasn't
teams
they?
everywhere. We've seen how good he is the last couple of seasons. And I think with a lot of these kind of signings and these sales, these are the kind of players where the stocks are high right this very second and you don't know what will happen. He's kind of the flavour of the month at the moment.
Yeah.
And sometimes sides miss out on these sales because they hold on to the player doesn't want to be there, and then in a few months' time they kind of drop off. Cash in when you've got the best time to sell a player. January, panic sale, you can increase the price to everybody, whatever you want, help them with the FFP as well.
Yep.
Cash in with a really good asset, and they've got other players that can fill in that position. It's not their weakest position.
What sort of fee do you reckon they could get in for him?
Well, there's rumours anything around 30 up to 60 million kind of.
They signed him for. It was a lot of money.
It was a lot of money. I can't tell you off the top of my head if I'm honest, but I know rumours are anything between 30 and 60 million. If they could get 50 million for him, cash in it now, straight away.
They've done well to get 50 million off him.
Exactly.
Whenever Everton ever sold a player other than Lukaku,
exactly
for that sort of money.
I don't know. I think it's a no-brainer. So that's the kind of player I'm thinking of, mainly down to FFP and because he's the flavour of the month, and anything could happen.
I know he's one of the main players for Everton, but if you could sell him, maybe bring 2 players in and keep £10 million surplus as well. That improves the team overall, doesn't it?
Yeah, improves the team.
It gets rid of the reliance on one player and spreads it over 2, I guess.
And I think that's the kind of situation they're in now with FFP. And I know it's a bit of a techie one getting involved, but I think it's similar with a couple of clubs here that are on kind of the fringe.
Yeah.
This is the perfect chance. Sell one of your prized assets that everyone's obsessed with. Next one.
And you know in January is an inflated market anyway,
exactly.
so you'll probably get a better fee from now than you will in the summer.
Yeah, I think a club like Arsenal would bite your hand off for a player like him, especially at the moment. Next then, Nottingham Forest. I've gone for Morgan Gibbs-White. I think they need to sell him now. This is another one, similar to the Everton, FFP worries at the moment. This is a player that, again, is the flavour of the month. And we've seen they've got enough attacking flair that they don't actually need him. Like, I don't think he is the most important player on that side. He's a bit of a luxury player, and I know a lot of people may disagree on that and think it's a little bit harsh. But when you look at the players they've got now going forward, when you think of the likes of Elanga, Callum Hudson-Odoi, they've got so many other players.
Hudson-Odoi's real decent.
No, I know, exactly. He's been really good this season. I think they've got all that blend of attacking force, and with the Nuno side, he kind of likes to stick with the same few players. So once that side's pretty set, if you can get rid of him and cash on him, because the money that's being thrown about for him, so many sides would be interested in him. I think it's a perfect sale. Again, flavour of the month. He's been spoken about as being one of the best players so far this season. Why don't you sell him now? Because he's not your main man anymore.
Because I think they sold him for a fee of maximising to 42.5 mil though. So how much more money? I don't think I get much more than 42 mil from now anyway.
But it's the English tax, isn't it? It's January, English tax.
He might reach 50 mil maximum. I don't think it gets much more than that.
FFP again, this is a club that is being spoken about, that's in a really sticky situation.
But the FFP is already go technical, but that's based on previous years.
No, I know,
accounts,
but
we're
going forward as well. That maybe they might need to look into these kind of things. That's kind of my mindset with those two clubs.
That's not my mindset.
Okay, then what's yours?
Mine is, if pod listeners will know who I dislike at Forest, it is Matt Turner, because he is just cackety.
I was going to write him, but I knew you would.
Oh, what an awful signing he's been. Both goalkeepers really for Forest at start of the summer have just not worked out. They should definitely be getting rid of Matt Turner. And I've actually got the replacement as well lined up from the team we're going to speak about next. If I skip to them, I think Palace should sell to Sam Johnson, who's had a great start to the season, did really well, got injured unfortunately. Dean Henderson's come in. Dean Henderson's their top earner at Palace. They're not dropping Dean Henderson back for Johnson now. So what Palace should do, sell Johnson. Johnson should go to Nottingham Forest. Everyone's happy.
Mine's the same with Palace. I think it's a no-brainer. Sell Sam Johnston. Again, stocks are high. He's had a very good season.
Exactly.
Cash in. They got him on a free.
English tax again.
English tax.
He wants to reach the Euros, don't he?
Exactly, and it's complete pure profit.
Yeah.
It's a free agent. I don't understand why they don't get rid, because he's not going to play. And I never get this. We've spoken about it with Arsenal so many times. There is no point having two first-team keepers. It does not help the dynamic of any situation. It just causes chaos.
And the only way it can work is if you play 60 games per season and all cups, including Champions League or whatever, is one keeper and just the Premier League is the other keeper. That's the only way it works, and you'll never see that happen in any team ever.
Yeah, no, I like that. So that's us both doing Palace as well.
Yeah.
Okay, then. Next, we've got Brentford.
I am gone with your theory. I'm cashing on Tony here.
Well, snap. I've gone Tony as well.
Because without playing, is gained 30 or 40 mil on his valuation. And I think it's all a bit overhyped. I know he's a good striker. He's decent. But he's not worth his 80 or 90 mil people are speaking about. If they can get 80 or 90 mil this in January, they should be laughing. Drive him there yourself, wherever he goes.
Yeah.
Take that money now, because his stocks will never be higher than they are right now.
Yeah, my logic on why Brentford need to sell Tony right this very second is, as you've said, the money that's been spoken about is insane for Brentford. It is life-changing for Brentford, let's be honest.
God, yeah.
This is huge for them. This is massive. They've never spent any of that kind of money, let's be honest.
They've never sold a player for anywhere near this sort of value.
Exactly. And then what I think makes it even better as well is, let's just be honest, recently their form's been pretty poor, but before that they coped completely fine without Tony. They're not in the relegation zone. Arguably, they're in a sort of a relegation battle, but Mbeumo, Visser, other players have stepped up this season.
They were fine.
Yeah, exactly. They've shown that they can deal without Tony. So cash in, whilst he's the answer to every single top six worries at the moment. He's been linked with absolutely everyone. Cash in and invest in the rest of the squad and improve the whole squad. We've seen it with a lot of clubs. I said it with Tottenham last year. Getting rid of the talisman, who all the pressure is on, helps a team. It allows other players to step up.
To feel good, not feel like they're like the Robin to Batman.
Yeah.
You know, they are a main player. They're not just a number. They're not just trying to help service this main man. They all feel part of the group instead, don't they?
100%, yeah. I think I like that Robin to Batman situation. That's exactly what it is. Everyone is in Tony's shadows. Right now, Brentford are Tony FC. And they need to be back to Brentford. Yeah, they need to be back to Brentford. That's all they need. So, yeah, I'm glad we both agree on that then. Next one then, Fulham. Who have you got for Fulham?
I went Palhinha.
Oh, okay.
Obviously, Bond were linked for summer for mega money. We're talking about 50, 60 million. They only signed him for, I think it was 17 mil. Not some gone, but some before. Cash in, loads of money coming in. You can get a good replacement for, say, 30 mil and have 30 mil left for whatever you want to do elsewhere in the team. You know, let's talk about they're going to lose that tossing centre half to AC Milan or whatever's going on. I'd be, Palhinha, go Bayern Munich, get to take your 60 mil, laughing.
Yeah, I like that as a shout. That's one name I did think of. You've just mentioned mine there. I think Fulham should sell Tosin Adarabioyo.
Okay.
I think it is a no-brainer. The bloke's contract is up in the summer. There are multiple clubs being mentioned. His agent's talking about how no contract's been agreed yet. Surely, now, we've seen so many players in this situation. Cash in, take as small a fee as possible, but just take something. I don't understand why. He's been injured for quite a lot recently. He's only just come back into the side. Yes, he's a great player. I've seen him at my own club, West Brom, on loan. He was at Manchester City before. Everyone knows he's a decent ball-playing centre-half. But there's nothing worse than losing a player on a free, them signing a pre-contract, them playing for the next 6 months, not caring. You might as well cash the money in rather than just sitting on the bench rotting. Get a bit of money in. I think it's a no-brainer. I don't understand why they wouldn't try and get rid, because any player who starts flirting with other clubs or even his agents start coming out going, no contract's been discussed, get rid. We've seen it's toxic for a dressing room.
Player power all over again, isn't it? I mean, the Boston rule's not a bad rule overall, but once a player goes, actually, I'm going to dictate what I'm doing here, the club are no longer in control, and the player doesn't care about the club anymore.
And exactly, and you've got, not only is it bad for the club, but you imagine not only that, Tosin Adarabioyo is going to have friends.
Yeah.
And the other players will say, do you know what, actually, he's got himself a big contract here and a big sign-on fee. I could do this. They're all.
And if he's been linked to someone like AC Milan, who he has legitimately been linked to this week, Fulham, AC Milan.
Exactly.
Where's your mind going?
Exactly. Sell him for a few million.
Yeah.
It's. I know they'll have taken a loss on him, but just to get a bit of cash in the club. Yeah. I think that one for me was a no-brainer.
He's making a loss, but you're making less of a loss unless he goes for free. Then all the loss going in.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, then Bournemouth. Who have you got for Bournemouth?
I've gone for David Brooks.
Okay.
It's a player I really like, David Brooks. I obviously have the whole story behind him as well, but I think he's a really talented player who doesn't get many chances at Bournemouth anymore. Perhaps got a bit star. Perhaps just needs to have his career re-energized again. Just needs a new lease of life. Maybe go on loan to a championship team or something, but just to get him back playing again, really, and get him back to enjoying football.
Yeah.
I like to see him play football again nicely with a smile on his face.
Yeah. And what I love about this is we've got really different mindsets. Mine is I'm thinking about the club and the money. You've got some wholesome vibes
I
there.
have, yeah.
I like it. Have a guess where I'm going.
You
then.
got Solanke.
So I think Bournemouth should sell Solanke. I think it is the perfect time yet again because we still don't
Yep.
know, is he actually a good striker? There's arguments that this could have been a purple patch. He's never scored goals like this before.
never.
He's never got over 10 goals in the Premier League season before
Does he
this
just-
season.
Like this manager, that's it.
Exactly. But the money that's been spoken about, the likes of West Ham, Tottenham, European sides are coming in, supposedly, cash in. And again, Bournemouth haven't sold a player like this in a long time. We're talking Callum Wilson time. This is how long it's been.
Absolutely.
So cash in, invest in the rest of the squad, and back Iraola and in his new system, and invest into the bigger picture. Because I think
Iriello will know what striker he will replace him with now. He'll know exactly who wants to come in, and he'll find that person. They'll be through the door in 2 days.
Yeah, and exactly. Even though it is a big ask to replace his goals, but if you invest in a load of players, because again, Bournemouth haven't had this kind of cash influxed into the team like this before. Exactly, invest in a full squad.
And they're not really in threatening with relegation anymore. They pulled away from that really well, to be fair to them. So actually, is this the right time to sell the prize assets to get as much money in, and then you can potentially step forwards even more so, rather than just go, is this as far that we can really go with this Bournemouth side right now?
Because we've seen so many teams in situations like this that have had a striker who's been scoring goals. Timo Pukki kind of vibes. When Timo Pukki was banging in the goals, there was options that they could have sold him. Not for that much, but there were options. They don't invest. They hold on to the asset. The asset stays with the club, rots with the club, and then nothing happens. Take the cash whilst you can. Bournemouth are in a situation here where they've got something and they can really cash in on it. And I feel like that's quite similar with all of my mindset. Next one then, Wolves. We've got a Wolves fan, as you can see. Si is a Wolves fan, as the shirt suggests. So tell me what you're thinking.
I think Wolves in January need to get rid of 3 players. And we've already done 2.
Okay.
And that was getting Sylvain and Sasha out on loan somewhere, because they were both just frosting on the bench. They both needed to go out and play. I mean, Silver's done the Wolves, that's finished, whatever. But Sasha just needed to go out and get some games, because he was clearly getting frustrated on the bench. The third player was a player who had a right. He might have had a fight in training ground recently with an under-19s kid. He then broke all the stuff in training ground, broke the football table tennis in the training ground and everything. Been expelled from the first team. So Johnny Otto he's got to go. He's got to go now. He's just...
He has to go, Black.
He does, mate. He does. That's the thing. He's been a good... he's really frustrating, because the first 2-3 years he was fantastic for us. He was the most consistent player I've ever seen in your life. Always 7 out of 10, really good. Had an awful ACL. Came back 12 months later. Did really well for 4 games. Got another ACL to the same knee. Never been the same player. And he's just been nowhere near the first team ever since. And obviously bubbled up, and his frustrations just come out in one spell in a training session. So he's thrown elbows at an under-19s player.
It's mad, that.
So
I didn't know that.
Yeah. And he's from the most untrusting player ever look at in your life.
Yeah.
So unfortunately, he's got to go, isn't he?
Yeah, no, I like that as a statement. I didn't know that story, so that kind of, I wish I'd have put him now. I'll put Fabio Silva. Yes, I know he's been loaned out by the Wolves, but I still think they need to sell him, cash in, because we've never seen a glimpse of this player. He's shown it in the Eredivisie.
Yeah.
He's shown it elsewhere on loan, but I still don't think he's good enough. And
showed against Blackpool in the
exactly.
League Cup.
even though you've got him off the books, you've loaned him. You need to cash in. Need to get some cash.
I think the idea is just, if he goes to Rangers, scores a buckload of goals, his value goes back up and we can recoup more money. That's it, because right now his stocks are low. Who's paying 10 mil for him
exactly?
Right now?
No one. Okay, then now on to the top, the big boys now, arguably, let's be honest. These are the serious high flyers in the Premier League. Now, this is what everyone's here to watch. We're going to be talking Newcastle, Liverpool, Man City, so don't forget to subscribe and like the video and comment down below all of your thoughts, by the way. Let us know. I do always read and reply to all of them. Okay, then, Newcastle now. I want to go straight in with this, because this is one of my passionate ones now.
Your passion?
I genuinely, I really stand by this. I think Newcastle need to get rid of Kieran Trippier. Now, the reason why I look at
this,
now,
I reckon.
I look at Kieran Trippier, and I think he's been a great servant to the club, and he's been really good for the transition, really helped the side, great leader. But now he's getting a little bit older.
33.
Bayern are coming in, Bayern are offering money, and it's okay money, let's be honest. It's
About
more
15 million, isn't it?
15 million, which is more than they paid. So they'll have made profit on him. They've got players like Livramento coming through the ranks, then Lewis Hall on the other side. They've got players that can fill his boots, and that we've seen how good Livramento's been. Why not sell the player? Again, we're talking about Newcastle, who are in a situation where they can't spend any money at the moment because they haven't had enough money come into the club. So why not sell an asset again now that has shown recently? Yes, I know it's recency bias, but his form has dipped quite a bit. And we've seen Livramento step up.
Yeah.
I think this is the perfect time and the natural transition. Thanks, Trippy. You've helped us get so far. Shake your hand. Off you pop.
Off you go now.
Take the money. That's
And
in
for
my
Trippier,
opinion.
it's a good move as well. Joseph Bayern is unreal, isn't it?
Oh, exactly.
I mean, they're right back this year. It's, I can't remember his name. It's number 40 in their squad. He can't see play. I think he's the Moroccan chap. And he's just...
he's not being good enough.
Meh, he's not been great. The thing is with Trippier, it's not just as a player, it's all the leadership, and he's bringing the young players through himself. And would you then stop the young players' development by not being able to learn off such an experienced pro? Is the only thing.
Maybe, but you know where my
But I get
mindset
your
is.
point as well.
It's cash.
You're getting a profit on a player you signed 2.5 years ago.
who's elevated you.
Yeah.
But is going to slowly... We've seen the decline already.
Yeah.
It may be a bit harsh saying we've seen the fast decline, but he's only getting older, so I think cash in now.
Get that.
What's your next one then?
Sort of along the same lines. Callum Wilson,
Yeah.
31 years old now. Very injury prone. Plays maximum 30 games a season, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Maximum. I know when he plays, he scores. As simple as that. He scored one goal over 2 games so far this season in the Premier League. I think it's 8 and 16. He's a good man, but just always injured. Those injuries are going to get worse and worse and worse as it keeps going on. But again, I think AC Milan, I've been linked with it this week as well. If I can get 30 mil for Callum Wilson, which is I think is a fair fee for a goal scorer like that, I think that's good money.
Oh, exactly. And especially in the financial situation they're in.
So I signed him 3-4 years ago for 20 mil. So they get a profit straight away. Helps with FFP, say the issues and all that. I think it's not, and Isak's obviously the main striker. Callum Wilson is the understood to Isak, isn't he?
Yeah.
100%. I think it's a good time now to say, Wilson, thanks, but you're not going to be the striker for us going forwards.
But do one, mate.
Yeah,
Get out the
pretty
door.
much.
Okay, then next
Concentrate on
one.
your podcast, mate.
Exactly. The next one, and listen to our podcast instead, actually. So the next one, Chelsea. Now, I'd love to hear your thoughts on Chelsea. Who do you think they should sell?
I am going down the line of money, money, money.
Yeah.
There is no player more valuable right now, probably, that they could reasonably sell than Conor Gallagher for Chelsea. And Spurs are really interested in him as well, aren't they? Spurs really want the Conor Gallagher. I don't get it about Conor Gallagher. I think he's cack. He's just a headless chicken who runs around, has no idea what position he should be in at any time, just happens to have the ball sometimes. I don't know what he does other than this pressing thing, but pressing from right back to the... I don't like him. Apparently he's worth 50 mil. That's laughable. That is laughable to get 50 mil for him. If I can, that's just selling right now.
Yep. I'd got a couple of players, so Gallagher was one of them. I thought it's a time to cash in.
Yeah.
As I said, I think that it's laughable that he's playing in this Chelsea side when you look
And
at
captain.
Exactly. I get it because of the transition and he understands the club and things, but I just don't think he's a Chelsea player and I don't think he's good enough.
He's not a top side player. He's not a player for the high parts of the league at all.
Exactly, but
He suits a 10th place position right now.
spot on. Yeah, he's a 10th spot player. But I think Chelsea need to sell Kepa. He's having an absolute stinker at Real Madrid currently. They are not happy with him. I've been reading. I read a lot online. I watch a good Real Madrid YouTube channel.
Lunin's now the number 1.
Yeah, and they absolutely hate him. The fans really don't like him. The loan. They've reportedly they're trying to look at see if there's any way they can cancel it. The bloke.
At the same time though, if I was Chelsea, I'd take him back and I'd play him. I think it's better than Sanchez.
Or just get rid, or just even
Or
sell,
just get
because
rid.
he's quite clearly not good enough at this level anyway. And it's similar to what I've spoken about already quite often. He's going to leave for a free, or just sell to anyone. Just get whatever money you can recoup in this situation because he simply is not good enough for Chelsea, or really for any top side in the Premier League or in Europe. Okay, then Manchester.
It's laughable. It was 74 mil for him.
They're still the most expensive keeper of all time.
It's just laughable.
Mental. Now this is another one where I've got a little bit of a controversial one. So let me cook. Hear me out, because you may disagree with this. Manchester United. I believe Manchester United should sell Marcus Rashford. If you've got the same.
He was my honourable mention.
Okay.
He was my second choice.
Perfect. Well, hear me out anyway, listeners. I want to hear what people think. So I look at this whole situation now at Manchester United. who is the main man, who is Mr. Man
Yeah.
United right now, it's Marcus Rashford. And that sums up how messed up
Absolutely.
and in a bad situation they are as a club right now. And I think that is laughable that he is the main man right now. You look at so many eras back each time, Wayne Rooney. You look at
Yeah.
some of the players like that, your Roy Keanes, your Gary Nevilles. Marcus Rashford is that right now, and he's simply not good enough. And if they want to really move on forward, he's kind of the player that's been the concrete, the bit of the furniture on that 11 for so long, and they look better without
And
him.
he's a man clad and all that sort of stuff.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and he's not good enough. And I think if they're going to move on and progress in this new era, they need to get rid of these players that they've been hanging on to.
Absolutely.
Because Martial, he's going to on a free anyway. The
Yeah.
players like Rashford,
Out for 10 weeks as well.
exactly. The players like Rashford who are clinging on and dragging Man United down with them. They need to, if they're going to progress as a club, they need to get rid of Rashford.
Man United are the results of the same as Rashford's performances. Inconsistency. All the
Exactly.
time, inconsistent. You know, how many times do you remember? I can remember a time for a long time now, Rashford played 3 good games in a row. Doesn't happen. He's so inconsistent. And and when he's bad, he's really, really bad.
Yeah, I
Like
agree.
he loses the ball so often. He gives it doesn't help the team. He plays for himself. I really believe that he plays for himself only. How many goals can I get? How many 30-yard screams can I get? How many free kicks can I score? Doesn't want to set up Højlund or anything, does he?
That's
Doesn't want to help out anyone else in the team.
Yeah, I think Højlund's been the only reason why he's had no service. When you think of Rashford, the goal that Højlund scored recently was Rashford dribbling into another player, which is what as we've seen so often this season. I think a club like PSG, I know PSG are kind of trying to go away from that,
Yeah.
but somebody like a
Yeah, it
PSG,
makes
a
sense, though,
powerhouse, or even Saudi Arabia. I know that's easy to say, but he's a big name.
But how? Because Saudi Arabia's a good shout because he's on 300 grand a week, and no one else is paying him 300 grand a week. There's no one else in the whole world other than maybe a Saudi Arabian club who pay that sort of money.
Yeah.
So he's just not worth it.
He's got a good brand, so it'd be a good investment for any club. I just don't think Man United, if they want to move on forward, they need to get rid of these kind of selfish players and invest in a better squad.
Absolutely, make a better team.
Exactly.
Not just better players, better team.
Exactly, and I don't think you can be a team when you've got players like Rashford on the wing.
I agree.
Okay, who was your Man United?
So
Sorry.
my Man United, Onana's been sold and bringing De Gea back. I don't get it, Onana. There's so many mistakes. The other day he got dropped for Cameroon, didn't he? And he was then on the side giving orders like he was a coach. And I saw some posters go saying his elite mentality. I thought, no, he's been dropped because he's cack.
Didn't make a single save in the tournament.
Just
Not one save, by the
He
way.
only made one appearance, didn't he?
Yeah, conceded
Not
3.
even so.
So he conceded 3 goals and made no saves.
He thinks he was the best keeper Champions League last year as well. I don't agree. I think it's a waste of money. I think he's a glorified, just playing out from the back. This thing about keeps playing out from the back. I get it's a philosophy, but if your keeper can't do his main job and keep the ball over net, he's not even a goalkeeper.
Yeah.
It's just a waste of time. Okay, De Gea wasn't as good at playing with his feet, but keep the ball over net.
Yeah, no, I'd probably agree with that. Agree with selling Onana, but not De Gea, sorry. I just realised I'd sound like I nearly agreed with you on De Gea.
Because you'd still do right De Gea,
No.
whatever, but De Gea's still the one of the best shot stoppers out there. So as a goalkeeper, keeping the ball out of the net is one of the best still.
Okay, well, I'll let you stick with that. Okay, then Brighton. Who have you got for Brighton, and who do Brighton need to sell?
Brighton, I would sell. I had 3 choices here, but I'm going to cash in on the big money boy, Ferguson. It's 18, 19-year-old chap who is, he doesn't actually play that often, but he's it's a massive valuation. You can guarantee someone like a Chelsea's going to go, oh, you want 100 mil for him? We'll take that. Whereas I think that's the obvious option for me, Evan Ferguson, or even a Matoma. He's a slight drop in form recently, but someone's still going to pay big bucks for him, aren't they?
Yeah.
So that's where I was sort of thinking for them.
Okay, have a guess where I've gone.
You've gone for Evan Ferguson.
You guys know me really well as well. So I think Brighton need to sell Evan Ferguson, as you've said. He doesn't actually play that much in the Brighton side. They don't desperately need him. And what we've seen with Brighton is they are so good with their money and investment. Imagine if they sold him for 100 million, they'll get another 10 great youngsters coming through the ranks. He's not that important to them, and I think that's the biggest part. We've seen João Pedro overtake him. Danny Welbeck is above him in the pecking order.
Welbeck.
Exactly. He's the third choice striker, and if you've got a third choice striker, no matter how old they are or how good they are, if they're valued at 100 million, it is a no-brainer to get rid. Brighton could invest and build another good 5 or 6 100 million players. It's a no-brainer for me. If they can sell him now.
agree.
Because, as we've said, he doesn't actually play enough. So it's not like they're going to lose out on anything. The only thing they're losing out is potential Wonga.
is a bench place.
Exactly. Well, yeah, you can have a spare blanket then on the bench.
Exactly. And, they've got strikers out on loan already, like Undev, I think, or
Yeah.
like, who's doing apparently half decent in Germany right now. He'd probably come back and be a well beater. No, Bryson, how they work.
Exactly.
So, yeah, why not cash in right now?
Okay then, West Ham. Who have you got for West Ham?
I have gone for Fornals, a player who had a big role last year. This year's hardly mentioned. Doesn't get much for looking. Cost a lot of money when they brought him in. I think they brought him for about 30 mil. It's a lot of money back then, a few years ago. Doesn't play at all. I'm still a bit confused by him as a player. I don't really know what his best position.
He gives me
is.
kind of Lanzini vibes.
Yeah,
you remember when we didn't really know what he actually
Yeah.
did and just had impact?
And you see, he has a good 2-3 minutes per game when he does play. I don't know what sort of player he is.
No, I don't mind that. As a
And
shout.
I just think he doesn't fit in with the West Ham side. I'd say, Fornals has probably had his day at West Ham and off he pops.
Yeah, no, I can get behind that. I don't think that's a bad shout at all. I've said West Ham are not in a position to sell anyone at the moment. I look at that squad and I think it is so thin and weak.
Yeah.
It is ridiculous. When you look at them in the game against Sheffield United, they had to bring on Ben Johnson
To centre
to
mid.
centre mid. That just shows you the current situation that this West Ham squad are in.
Yeah.
They are not in any position to sell or get rid of anyone. No. They cannot do that right now. So I personally think West Ham can't sell anyone, in my opinion.
So I have 3 players down for West Ham. That's decide from.
Yeah, but that's the thing. That's why I think it's interesting. Because I looked at the squad and thought,
Because initially I put Danny Ings down, but then he did so well on the weekend.
You can't
playing
argue
his
it.
number 10 position. I was like, how on earth was that? Like, I couldn't believe how good he was.
yeah,
Wolves were linked with him a few weeks ago. I was like, I don't want Danny Ings. He's had his day, and what's going on? Where's he played really well? I was like, where's this come from?
yeah, no, I know what you mean. It's a really difficult one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Like, players like that. Okay, then Spurs. Now I'm going to go straight in and say I've got 2 names.
Okay.
But I think Spurs need to sell Højbjerg.
Højbjerg,
But now,
linked to Juventus.
so Højbjerg is a brilliant player. We've seen him play at the top level. Pep Guardiola literally brought him into his Bayern Munich side. We know he's a good player. He did well at Southampton. He moved to Tottenham.
Yeah.
He was probably the best player in an Antonio Conte side, and arguably
And Jose.
I was going to say, yeah, both of them absolutely loved him.
Yeah.
But he's not an Ange Postecoglou player.
Doesn't fit the system.
He doesn't fit the system. He's a destroyer and moves the ball on, whereas you cannot be like that in a Spurs. So that's why we've seen players like the Celso really excel in this team. So I look at it as a whole and think Højbjerg is an asset, which is worth something, and he's a good player.
Yeah.
He's not rotten or anything like that, but just doesn't fit the system.
That's
There's no
it's
point.
natural, isn't it? Almost.
Exactly, it's a natural progression, and the way this side's moving,
Yeah.
I don't think that they need to keep. And for a player who's done so well and been a servant to the club in a quite a difficult time,
Yeah.
I think it's right for both parties that they sell and then invest.
He could probably
in more
go
players.
to a team like an even bigger team potentially as
Oh,
well. And
easily.
get some trophies in.
Oh yeah, no, he's a good player.
I've always liked Højbjerg, and I think he's a tighter player. I say he's great at Destroyer, just reads the game really well, good leadership as well. He'd be an asset anywhere he goes.
Yeah, no, I agree. Okay, then who's yours?
Brian Gill. Just can't believe sort of Spurs. How is he still there? He cost nearly 30 mil from Seville, 3-4 years ago? Been on about 4 different loans since. And when he comes out, he looks so lightweight, makes no impact. He's just a nothing player, isn't he? Just get rid of him.
No, I completely agree.
Yeah.
And thing is, I'd be intrigued to see where he would go. But that's
Seville.
That's another. That's a debate. Would they pay for him? That's the point.
Well,
I had him on loan and thought,
yeah.
forget that. You can have him.
Have a
back.
loan twice, didn't they? I
Yeah,
think.
exactly. It's
Oh,
bizarre. Okay, then Aston Villa. Do you want to go first with your Aston Villa shout?
I think because of the players that have been brought in and have come through for Villa, centre half, Tyrone Mings has got a real issue on his hands getting back into that team.
Yep.
He might be, was captain now, vice captain, whatever. I can't see him getting into the team past Pau Torres and Carlos
Or Consa.
or Konzo or Longley. They're all really good centre halves. And Mings has done better than expected to start this year. He did really well, to be fair, before he got injured. I just can't see him get back in that side though, and his stocks are high before his injury. Is his value going to get any higher than it currently is? Probably not. A lot of teams could do with a left-footed centre half, who's a bit of a brute as well. I think it's time for Tyrone Mings to be sold for Villa, but it's a good fee as well that Villa will get for him.
Yeah, no, I get that. I think that's a
Yeah.
sensible one, actually. I didn't even think of him, to be honest. That just showed I'd completely forgotten he existed after the
Because
injury.
just forget about
Just
it.
kind of wipe it, don't you, from your memory. my one is somebody I've spoken about recently on the podcast. I think Aston Villa needs to sell Matty Cash.
Yeah.
I think we're currently... Matty Cash gives me Kieran Tierney vibes at Arsenal. When they wanted to progress into a better club, if you really want to move on forward, playing good, expansive football, these kind of players who have been a great servant for the club but aren't good enough, you need to get rid.
They have a limit. There's a ceiling.
Exactly.
There's a ceiling that hits it.
And he's at his ceiling. And I think he stands out in that squad as the weakest link. Every time you go through that defence, as you've said, he stands out. The midfield is awesome.
Yeah, it is.
The attack,
Annoyingly.
wingers, everyone's brilliant, and their weak link is him. And I can't see who.
There's a reason why Cons is playing right back and not Cash.
Exactly, and the fact that they're literally moving a centre back over, arguably their best centre back, to play right back, just shows you the current situation they're in. I think they need to sell and invest in a proper right back, because he wasn't even a right back. He was converted at Forest from a winger,
Yeah.
and he scored
To
against
deal
the
with an
Albion.
injury crisis, wasn't it, at the time?
Yeah, and he scored against the Albion. And I still to get a 1-1 draw the season they went up, and I'm still really bitter about that.
So it's filling his cash in, don't they?
Yeah, yeah, get that cash in. That's brilliant. That is so good. Yeah, I think they should cash in on him, just purely in the sense of he's a good player for so many clubs in the Premier League. Anyone below them, he'd be a great signing for.
If you think of the second half of the table, he'd be great for most of them.
Exactly,
Except
but
for Wolves.
if they want to become a European side now and really cement themselves at the top,
Exactly.
these are the kind of players that you've got to move away from, detach yourself
And you
from.
probably get a decent fee from still, can't you?
Oh, 100%, because he's not that old.
Nah.
Polish great. Okay, then. Now on to Arsenal. Now, yes, exactly. Give it a Ramsdale clap. Is that who you've gone for?
Ramsdale's got to go right now. His value's only going down, sits on the bench, isn't it?
Yeah.
He needs to play, first of all, because if he wants to go to the Euros, he's got to get back playing. He's doing nothing at Arsenal at all, other than clapping Raya, because he thinks Raya's the best player ever, apparently. And he's just... It's just annoying to watch Ramsdale on the bench, isn't he?
Yeah, no,
I just find it annoying that it's such a good... He's a really decent goalkeeper. He's not obviously not... He's obviously not going to be a title-winning goalkeeper. Everyone can appreciate that. And we've seen this step up with Raya in the Arsenal side. We all get that. But he could do really well at the majority of sides of the Premier League.
Yeah.
He needs to be back playing.
No, I'd probably agree with that. I thought about him, and then I thought about another player. I think Arsenal need to sell Emil Smith-Rowe.
Great shout.
So now,
Great shout.
Emil Smith-Rowe is a player that Aston Villa only a few seasons back were bidding some
Really
serious
lucky,
money for. He's a very good footballer. We've seen him score so many goals, play really well, especially in that COVID times.
yeah.
We know he's a serious player, but quite clearly...
He's got number 10 shirt for a reason.
Exactly. Arteta doesn't rate him quite clearly because he's not giving him any minutes. We're seeing players like Reece Nelson and Fabio Vieira get minutes over him, and it just shows you kind of situation exactly what the boy from Croydon, what everyone, the Kevin De Bruyne from Croydon, they used to call him, didn't they?
It's
Like,
a cute name,
It
isn't it?
is cute, but like you look at that whole situation, you don't get all those nicknames and things if you're a bad player, but he'd be so good at so many teams. And what is he actually doing for the squad right now?
Nothing.
He's not playing really in Europe.
Since he signed his new contract, he's not playing at all.
Exactly. And sometimes when you sign those contracts, I understand it's to protect the asset and to add more value to the asset. But get rid because he's not doing anything for the squad right now. And again, we've seen Arsenal invest very well recently. I know kind of it's question marks over Havertz, but bar that, they've invested extremely well. Get a bit of money in and invest in other positions because he's in one position actually as well that they've got players in.
Exactly.
It's the only position. Like they've got the likes of Odegaard.
Well, they've got those players in like in the central attacking middle or the left wing. It's the right wing they're struggling. They've only got Saka, and that is it literally. Unless you fudge someone in there, isn't it? You know, square pegs around holes and all that.
Exactly, and they could sell somebody like Emil Smith-Rowe and then invest in a player like Tony, because as you said, that front kind of 3 or 4, however many players, the number 10, the left, the right, the striker, they're all clear of him, and even the backups
Absolutely.
are. Reece Nelson is a better player than him currently,
Yeah,
so
absolutely is.
invest and sell. Somebody like Palace would be perfect.
I think Villa will still be interested.
Yeah, probably. And he needs to pull his socks up. That's what I need to get off my chest.
Good.
Okay,
Good.
then Manchester City. Who have you gone for?
So initially went with Calvin Phillips. I think was the obvious one.
Yeah.
But he's based on his way to West Ham, so I'm going to sort of avoid him. And I'm going to go with actually a summer signing for Man City, who has hardly played, doing absolutely nothing there, other than warming a bench. Mateus Nunes. His value is just going down, so that's on the bench. And does Pep actually fancy him?
Mateus Punes.
Did Pep ever actually want him? He wanted Paqueta. They found about the betting charges. We haven't really heard about that since, have we? But he wanted another player. Wanted Paqueta. Couldn't get him. So they've gone with Nunes. They've overpaid for Nunes. 60 mil. They've lost a really good youngster in Tommy Doyle as well because of that. I just don't. I can't see Nunes ever working for Man City. Initially, I did, and now I don't.
Yeah, we all kind of got really excited, including myself. I thought Pep would kind of mould this guy into an absolute world beater.
I know sometimes there's a Pep takes a year for the player to learn themselves, but he's not playing at all. Like Calvin Phillips, he is not getting any minutes whatsoever.
Yeah, exactly. And for both parties, it's probably best just to part ways.
Yeah.
They got it wrong. Just put your hands up and go, do you know what? Let's just leave it. It's just going to get toxic.
His stock's still fairly high, I guess. So just, sell him for 40 mil now, because you probably lost 20 mil already.
Yeah, and then
I don't know who's going to buy for 40 mil.
Someone in
but
Europe.
someone
in Europe.
Someone in Spain or Italy will take him for that.
Because he's a good player. That's the thing. We know he's a good player.
Yeah. Just sulky.
I've gone for, this is a little bit of a rogue one, I think Manchester City need to sell Cancelo. Now, he's still currently at the club, on loan at Barcelona, with no option to buy.
Is there no option? I thought
no
there was an
option to buy currently.
That's interesting. Barcelona came out this week saying they want to buy him.
They want to buy him. So this is only from what I've read on reports online. Yeah. There are some reports saying there's an option to buy, but I'm going to stick with the big boys. I'm going to stick with no option.
Fabio Romano said.
Exactly, and he hasn't spoken on it, so I'm going to stick with that. And David Ornstein hasn't. There may be one in place, who knows? But even still, I'd sell. This guy, I was looking earlier on the transfer market, he's currently worth 48 million.
It's a lot of money still,
48 million fullback who is on loan at another club.
That makes sense.
It makes no sense. Yeah. We know that at one point he was the world's best fullback.
And playing on his wrong side as well.
Exactly.
Playing left back.
So why on earth, I understand the kind of fallout that they had, and I understand he's at Barcelona, he's doing quite well. They like him. Yeah. He's a very good player. But I understand they're getting the wages off the books. But why don't you just get the player get a fee, and then the wages are gone? I just don't get the whole loaning them out constantly.
Because he's having a great career, you think about it. He's gone from your bloody Juventus to Man City to, where was it last year? Bayern to the now Barcelona. Like, he's having a great career.
He's quite clearly a good player.
He's happy with it.
Exactly. He's quite clearly a good player. There's quite clearly going to be clubs that will be happy to buy him. So sell him.
Exactly.
Get the cash in. I feel like I keep repeating myself.
People who want him. The people who want him. He's obviously a very good player. Get some money for him.
Exactly. Get some cash. The final team then, Liverpool. Now, hit me with the player that you've gone for.
I struggle with Liverpool, because they've actually... It's not a big squad. It's been tested at times. It's actually just... I've gone for a player that, if he went, they wouldn't miss, I don't think. So, Tsimikas, the Greek Scouse. Get some money for him, nothing major. But I feel like he can move on, play regular football elsewhere. Liverpool recently... Gomez is playing left back while that Bradley was playing right back instead. Gomez has been doing... Gomez had a good year this year, actually. For years doing nothing, has been injured so much. He's come out this year, he's no longer centre half, fine, whatever. But he's now playing full back position. He's doing really well for Liverpool.
Yeah, he's kind of good squad player.
Yeah, I think there's good cover left back for Liverpool. Waiting for Robertson to come back, obviously. So he was really the only player I could think of who could go.
Yeah.
Because they need to keep all their players for the title push, which they are certainly in for.
Oh, 100%. Now, I'm similar to you. I really struggled when looking at this Liverpool squad, trying to pick and piece together an idea and a logic. It's lazy to say something like a Matip, because I don't think you'd get any cash for him. So there's no point. Then
he's getting on as well, isn't he?
Exactly. So Tsimikas I like as a point. Actually, I think that's a really good shout. I should have looked at that avenue. I went down for a loan avenue. That a player who's currently out on loan, Fabio Carvalho, who's currently on loan at Hull.
Yep.
Playoff pushing, and he looks great against Sunderland. I watched the full match last Friday. He is quite clearly a very good player. We saw it at Fulham, but it was ludicrous when Liverpool signed him, because at the time they didn't even play with a number 10.
No,
I could never see how it would ever have fit at Liverpool, and we've quite clearly seen went on loan out to Leipzig. He wasn't good enough. Didn't get any minutes whatsoever. Didn't get any minutes under Klopp last season, and quite clearly he wasn't good enough. They got the bloke, small fee. He's a good player, a very good championship player. Yeah. Could play realistically in probably the bottom 6 teams, I'd say, in the Premier League.
He plays the quality between Championship and Premier League, isn't he?
Definitely, but he's still young, so I don't understand. A club towards the bottom of the league, your likes of Everton all the way down, your Brentfords and clubs like that, would invest in a player like that.
He fits into Brentford really well.
Forest, other teams like that. He's a very technically gifted footballer. They'd get a good fee for him.
Absolutely.
Because quite clearly, he's never going to work at Liverpool. He's not at that level.
What was Klopp said? Klopp is not leaving for a long time still.
Exactly.
He just made a whole new team out of a new system. He's staying for another 5-6 years, isn't he? Let's be honest.
Yeah, and if he was good enough, he'd have made his way into the team because there's no excuse, I think. With
Curtis
Liverpool.
Jones and Harvey Elliott both have this year.
Exactly, that was what I was about to say. There's no excuse for Liverpool youngsters not to be able to come in because we see Klopp is one of the best managers for
Absolutely.
it. We'll give them a chance if they're good enough. That's his logic.
Even that Quansum Bradley recently.
Exactly, yeah.
Come back in. And they all fit in straight away.
Mm-hmm. And we've seen, as you said, Harvey Elliott and Curtis Jones find their position. Whereas I don't see Carvalho fitting into that midfield three because he's too small to play in Liverpool side. He's too robust.
And he's not good enough to play in the front three either.
Exactly. So I think he needs to get a move away, cash in on a player that is still young, so he's still showing potential. So they could probably get a similar.
I wonder if I saw a bit of Coutinho in him, because Coutinho was number 10 in Milan. They brought him. Liverpool brought him in, obviously 14 mil was dead cheap, weren't it? Made him a bit of a left winger sort of player who cuts in, and that worked. Obviously, the rest is history with that.
Yeah, maybe, but I just think I remember watching him in the Championship quite a lot and saying he was a great player. But everyone always said Elise was 10 times the player he was. So it always really baffled me that they went in for
that player,
They went in for Carvalho, who played well in a good Fulham side, whereas Elise was unreal in a struggling Reading side. And it was like, surely everyone can see he's twice the player. Yeah. But yeah, bit of an interesting one. Well, thank you, Simon. That was really enjoyable.
That was good,
hopefully everyone's enjoyed that. Bit quick fire, but we've still gone through every team. And exactly what we do on this channel, we always talk about every single team. Even though I did put no one, we still spoke about them.
We had a player come out.
Exactly. No, let us know, as I said, down in the comments below what your thoughts are. And Sol will be on the YouTube channel. A lot more going forward, and I'll be getting a lot more of the podcast boys on the channel for lots more long form content, because I keep promising you the videos are coming back, but I guarantee it now. We're back and we're here to stay. But yeah, thank you for watching.
2024 big year.
Exactly. Huge. And get us to 5,000 subscribers. We are currently less than 80 away now. So click that subscribe button. Please do it already, so I can build an even bigger and better studio. Thank you. Peace.